welcome back to another episode of the pod, Talkin Real Estate. I'm your host, Dustin Anglam, and today we have Larry Berry joining us, our broker owner. We're going to be going over a little bit of a Happy New Year and talking about our 24.
Yeah, talk a little bit about where we were in 24 and maybe what we look like we're headed in 25. So
hopefully up.
Hopefully up, that's right. So, all right, well, Dusty, so 24, in my thought, was a relearning year for some people. As we've talked about in some of our sales meetings, people that came into the market maybe 2020, 2021, and when I say people, I mean realtors that came in at an all-time high for the state of Oklahoma and the nation as a matter of fact of that. But we saw great sales, high market, multiple buyers looking, low interest rates. The only negative of all of that was the house prices went through the roof.
Yeah.
That was not a good thing. So it kind of caused us in 24 to start making the market corrections. We saw the feds come out raising interest rates in late 23, early 24. And when they started raising those up by 1 and 2 basis points, it seemed like that it really slowed and stalled everything out. And so I think people were having a hard time figuring out why things weren't moving, dealing with sellers in 24 and getting them to understand that, hey, houses aren't selling in 7 days like they were, or 1 or 2 days sometimes with multiple offers. We're getting back to more of a 2019, 2018 type market. So Lakeland is, continued to be the top selling office in Mays County, and we're very grateful and blessed for that. Always appreciative of our clients, past clients, repeat clients, new clients that we dealt with in 24. Super grateful and appreciative of those people that trust us to handle their real estate needs. We finished 2024 around $40 million in sales, so that was super blessful for us. Looking to grow on that. That's down for us. That's a down year, but we're hoping to in 2025 turn that around. 24 saw where sellers were still thinking they were going to get top dollar for their properties.
Yeah.
And wanting to list those at what people were selling houses for 2 and 3 years prior. And we've kind of got to train the market, inform the market, teach the clients of what the market's doing in that day that they decide to sell. As you know, running market analysis, figuring out what their house is worth, what their land is worth, what their business is worth. We sell commercial properties as well here. And giving them a really good, accurate forecast of your property's worth X. And this is how many days it's taking to sell those right now. Days on market's another thing that went up in 24 compared to the years prior. And so getting people to understand that quick market has kind of went away. So.
Yeah, and that's our job as a real estate agent. We have to present these to our clients because if we don't, no one else is going to tell them. Yep. And a lot of our clients that are selling now, they probably bought in that. A lot of them have bought in that 2020 range where they was the buyer and they was like, oh, we got to jump on it. And they were having houses taken from them. So that's the mindset that they're still in.
That's a very good point. Yeah, those people that bought during that time frame, when they go to sell, if they're not an experienced person, say they bought their first time home. And they think that's what the market's supposed to look like. And then they list it and they're like, why is my house not doing what it did when I bought it? It's market driven, so for sure. And, as we talked about the numbers of interest rates, 24, we kind of ended where you could draw a line back to 96, 97 since we've seen interest rates that high. And so there, the trend there is people aren't used to seeing this unless they're baby boomers or Gen Xers. They've seen some of those higher interest rates back in the 90s and prior, but anybody past that hasn't seen this. And so it's really high interest rates to them right now, which in reality, over the grand scheme of things, we're probably where it looks like we may settle in at more of a common, fluctuation of 1 basis point up or down.
Yeah. So, Larry, as 2025, and we kind of recapped on our 2024, what are inventory levels doing right now?
So, inventory is getting stronger. The inventory levels are higher because more people have low interest rates.
Yeah.
As we talked about in our sales meeting, 75% about 75% of 30-year mortgages are at 5% or under. So when the new lender rates right now are 6.5, 6.75, those people with 5% or lower is 3/4 of the houses out there. They're not really wanting to sell and go out and buy a new one unless they're moving for jobs or schools or downsizing or upsizing. You know, there's life events that happen that are going to make people
for sure,
move regardless of what's happening in the interest rate market. But definitely seeing the inventory levels start to creep back up to where they were prior to COVID. You know, during COVID, it was a famine. You know, there were many houses out there, and when one came on, as everybody knows that lived through it, they were gone pretty quick. And so we're starting to see where it's probably shifting more to a buyer's market. I think 25 will continue that swing a little bit. You are probably leaving in 24 a little bit of a neutral market where it was sellers and buyers both. But I think the buyer's market is probably starting to trend upward to where more buyers are going to have the upper hand, if you will, in a deal. Because people that have to sell or need to sell or just want to sell are going to have less buyers out looking. So, you know, they're like, hey, how do I attract this buyer? And a lot of times that's with incentives such as buyer paid closing cost or lower sales price. So we'll see some of that in 25, I believe.
Well, so Larry, so we've talked about how it's been, how our 2024, it was slower, it was down. How do you predict 2025? I know we hope that it goes up, but I mean, we're a week or so in, 2 weeks into 2025. Have you seen any differences or even any differences since the holidays have kind of come and now they're fading away?
Well, great question, because what we're going to deal with in 25, there's still uncertainty right now because of the regime change, if you will. The new president coming in 25, the inauguration will be on January 20th. And so it remains to be seen what that's going to do to the market. Is that going to cause interest rates to go up or down one way or the other? Is it going to cause the housing market to decline, increase? You know, what happens with the feds, the Congress, Senate, House, all that stuff kind of factors in on a large scale. A lot of times in our area, you know, we're kind of a rural Oklahoma area, and so we think, oh, well, that stuff doesn't affect us, but it does. It trickles down to us. And so right now it's hard to tell what exactly is going to happen. The things that I've been reading and watching seem to say that it's going to be pretty much like it's been through 24. May see a little bit of a downtick in some interest rates. You know, dropping prime doesn't necessarily mean mortgage goes down. As we saw at the end of 24, prime went down, mortgage rates went up. One of the few times ever in the history that it happened that way, but it did. And so the general public most generally will look at it and say, oh, prime, the Fed's cut by, 0.25. Well, they think that that's immediately coming off the mortgage 0.25, and that's not what that means. You know, that follows the 10-year Treasury bond. So 25 is still, I think, uncertain. Like I talked to our agents in a sales meeting, is you can find about any story you want to find. If you want the sky is falling, you can find those stories. If you want to find, hey, we're going to hit rock bottom, those stories are out there. Hey, it's going to be a great year, low interest rates, those stories are out there. So you got to kind of pick and choose what you're looking at and reading and watching, and kind of take it all with a grain of salt. And you just kind of got to sit back and watch what's happening. For us, a lot of times sellers will think that a holiday season is slower through Thanksgiving and Christmas, but I feel like here at Lakeland, we seem to always see an uptick. Now, I don't know if that's because family is in visiting other family members and they get to sit around the table and are like, hey, Dusty, you should move back here. And Dusty goes out, starts looking for a house, or what drives that. But it seems like we see a little bit of an uptick, and we did there at the end. I saw a lot of our agents posting on social media and then on the MLS where they had put houses under contract, through New Year's Day. Some were getting put under contract. So good to know the agents were working through those holidays, because that's, as you know, we're working 24/7, or as people think, we never work. So it's good to see that happening for our office, because I think it's a very indicative of what will happen everywhere else as well. I feel like the other offices probably saw an uptick as well during that time frame. It's going to be educating the buyers and understanding that 6.5% interest may be where you're going to have to enter the market at. If you enter at 6.5%, you're at a higher interest rate than you may want to be. But long term, if you're buying your home that you don't really have a date when you're going to sell it. This is my home and I'm just going to live here until my life changes. There's a good chance when you go to get out of that house, you're going to be okay. You're going to have equity in it. It's going to be worth more than you paid for it. Yes, you're going to have paid a higher payment, a little bit more interest through the years. But the luxury of locking that home in and getting it bought is if the interest rates do go down, you can refinance.
Oh, yeah.
There's some numbers out there, and I would advise anybody who's thinking about refinancing to visit with their lender or a real estate agent and talk to that person, a friend if you've got one, and explain to them, hey, I'm wanting to refinance, because there are some, hey, it needs to drop 1 basis point. If you're locked in at 6.5, you kind of want to not refinance until it's about 5.5 to make the savings justifiable. And then there's a rate of return on that investment. So how many years do you plan to be here prior to moving? If you're going to move in the next 2 to 3, then don't refinance, because you're just spending that money to refinance, and you're probably not going to recoup that. If you're like, I don't have a plan, I'm going to be here for 10 years, or my plan is a 10-year, usually you can get that money back in 5 or 6 years in saving your payment money. So it makes sense to do it then.
And yeah, just that 1 point will be $300 to $400 a month, and
potentially, absolutely. 2025, I think one of the big things we may see in our everyday, and this isn't just in real estate, I think we're going to see a big uptick in AI stuff. I think, your electric cars, a lot of times here in Northeast Oklahoma, when electric cars were a new thing, I don't want electric, I need diesel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think they've come around, and like any new invention, it gets better with time if it
for sure
sticks. And the electric car has obviously stuck, and it's going to be around. So I think they're making those better. I think the AI generated things that you were seeing online, there's times when you call customer service, you don't know if you're really talking to AI or a person. They sound so similar nowadays. When it first came out, you kind of knew it was broken language, broken English, and the way it was communicating with you, you could tell it was a computer. But they've really fine-tuned that stuff, and I think in 25 we'll see a big difference in that stuff and how that's doing. And self-driving cars, things like that. I think, are they going to be going up down the highway with nobody in them? No. But they have them now where you can just basically sit behind the wheel, and as long as it detects your eyes are looking at the road, it'll drive you. And so they're just going to continue to build on those type of things. And so how that affects the housing market, good or bad, I don't know for sure. I know AI will help clients. If you're a home buyer and you're trying to sign up and get an application, I think you're going to deal a lot with some AI lenders that are taking your application, and you're not really going to necessarily talk to a person. Somebody my age or older, they may not want to really do it that way, but what I see is the younger generation, that's what they want. Less contact is better for them. Let me get on my phone, send a couple inquiries, get my pre-approval, get with a realtor, get a house bought, and just a little human contact as I got to have is better. I'm different. I'm opposite of that. I like the human contact. I go to the bank, I walk in, I talk to the tellers and that stuff. But I know at some local institutions that I deal with, they're looking at these teller machines that are basically won't have nobody there. You walk up, scan your check, put it in, deposit it, withdraw money, kind of like a ATM on steroids, if you will.
I know RCB has the ITM, and that's all I ever go to. I just put my cash in, it takes it. Yep. I don't ever have to talk to anyone.
Well, those ITMs are a thing that are about to be a very common in banks. So.
Yeah, and I think 2025, I'm hoping everything goes up. We've got a good outlook so far. We're doing some office changes. We're offering a class coming up for first-time home buyers. That's coming up. Make sure to look at our Facebook page. We're going to be putting updates out on that. And then we're doing in-office trainings. We're incorporating that so that way all of our agents are kind of getting refreshers and getting more apt to the new technology and kind of modernizing here at Lakeland. So we're hoping that all of this, and we updated a new website that's going to allow us to do a whole lot more stuff on there. So hopefully 2025 we'll get a whole lot of stuff, get the ball rolling on a whole lot of stuff, and kind of
we're
keep
looking
it going.
forward to it. I mean, excited about where we're headed in 2025 and some of the things that we're going to roll out. New agents that are going to come on board potentially. We have a new agent that came on already since the first of the year. So looking forward to the growth that we'll see in 2025 and the technology that we can figure out to use to better serve our clients. At the end of the day, it's about our clients and how do we serve you and make sure that the buying or selling process is as stress-free as it can be. There's always deals that go south. There's always stress. There's always negotiations to be had, and that's where you and I and the other agents in our office need to step in and help those people out.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the exciting part of it. 2025 is we get settled in, hopefully interest rates will do what they need to do and get people ready to move.
Alrighty, well, thank y'all for joining us. And as always, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to the office or contact one of us directly. We'll be happy to help you. Keep an eye out on our Facebook page as we're rolling out new stuff to stay informed about stuff that we're offering to our clients.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you and Happy New Year.